Welcome back, everybody, to the Huddle Up podcast. We are going to shout out the sponsors later, but you guys know who they are. I've got my co-host right here, David Glidden. DG, what's going on, man?
Drew, what's up, man? This is cool. This is exciting right here. Middle of the day episode with a real special guest.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
ready to get straight to it. Dari, we appreciate you being here. I'll let Drew
Absolutely.
take it
So
from here to get your introduction, man.
the
Appreciate
lead
you. You guys are too
anchor,
kind, man.
the lead anchor for the SEC Network on KREF Sports TV. You can hear him on KREF from 9 to noon Central with Josh Helmer on the Dari Nowkhah Show. Our good friend and Okie from Tulsa, Dari Nowkhah. Dari, thank you so much for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Guys, I'm
Appreciate you,
glad to
man.
be on. Appreciate you. Thank you, David. Thank you,
Yes.
Drew. I appreciate you all having me, man. I'm sorry it took me so long to get around to being able to do it. Life's
Hey, it's
crazy,
okay.
man.
I get it. And guess what? It's about getting crazier for all of us because football season is here.
Thank goodness.
And I know for you, it's getting already ridiculous, but we appreciate you taking just a small chunk of time. We'll get right to it. And I said earlier, take us back to Tulsa, growing up at Tulsa, going to Union High School there in Tulsa, and thinking about your career path, everything. Obviously, University of Oklahoma as a student. When did broadcasting and TV, radio, all that? When did that come a reality for you? And how did you stumble upon that?
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was, once I realized there was no chance in the world I was going to be an athlete, but I was a sports fanatic. I mean, this story's fairly familiar with a lot of people, that do what I do for a living. It's not overly uncommon, but I kind of always thought, how could I be around sports and use whatever useless information was rattling around in my head that, most other kids didn't have, nor did they need, because they were focused on more important things. Right. But I remember I had this kind of feeling I wanted to do this. And I remember one night, I think I was in ninth grade, my mom set up an opportunity for me to go and spend the day with my favorite sportscaster in Tulsa, Al Jerkins, Big Al.
Yes, sir.
And so Big Al's like, yeah, man, bring him on up. And I remember hanging out for a night with him and a day and a night with him and loved what he did and kind of said, man, this would be cool to get to do someday. I actually went to OU, though, as a pre-med major because I was good at math and I was good at science. And my dad, who's an engineer to this day, still working in Tulsa, said, you never, it's not that you can't make it, but it's really hard to make it in that business. And, you're not going to make any money and you're just going to kind of, bounce around from city to city your whole life. And is that what you want? And I said, I don't know. I'll try this. I took one semester of chemistry in a class with 500 people in a 7:30 a.m. lab and several all-nighters just to barely pass the tests. And I was like, nope, I'm out. Broadcast journalism it is.
There you go. No, that is
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, and then so we all know that you got into local after graduation, got into local TV and everything with
Yep.
in Tulsa and everything like that. Did that thing for a while, and then in 2004, you got a big time opportunity to get with ESPN. Talk about that, and what was your immediate feeling? We're like, hey, am I ready for this opportunity, or am I just trying to survive with it? Talk us through when you got that call from ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, I had bounced around. I lived in Montana doing TV, Nebraska, and then into Tulsa for a couple of years. Got the opportunity to go up there and audition, and eventually got offered. And so I would say the first year, I was really primarily ESPN News, and that was back when ESPN News literally did sports, news shows all the time, and which was great. It was a great opportunity for me. And then about a year in, I started getting some run on SportsCenter, and I did that for the last heavily SportsCenter for the last 6 years I was up there, along with College Football Live and Baseball Tonight and NFL Live and you name it. And they put me on it, which was great. No, I never really felt like, it's one of the things I've never been like starstruck, right? I didn't walk around the building saying, oh, there's Oral Hershiser, there's Mike Ditka, there's Chris Berman, there's, all of these. It was just kind of what I did for a living. And sure, I was probably nervous the first 2 or 3 shows I did, but quickly discovered that you just, if I can just be me and be focused and, that I'm certainly worthy of being up here. And it worked out. I mean, I loved my time up there. You know, we were ready to leave Connecticut when it was time to leave Connecticut. You know, we had opportunity to come down to Charlotte where we are now, and we took it. But life at ESPN when you're working in that building is pretty good. You're walking around, you've got the best of the best everywhere in every building. You've got the best sets, you've got the best designs, you've got the best producers, you've got the best directors, you've got phenomenal co-hosts, you've got analysts that you've known forever that have played the sport that they love for their entire lives. They know what they're talking about. We have a lot of that here too, but coming from local television, you know, 3 different spots in local television to I do remember the first time that I was doing Sports Center, and there was a little surrealness to it because, you know, it's da-da-da, da-da-da, and then you see yourself on TV. Like, that's like, whoa, that was okay. That's cool.
Oh, wait a minute.
Heads up a second. That was pretty sweet. But now we work, right? And but it was an awesome experience, man. I loved every bit of it.
Man, that's really cool. I'll say this to touch on what you just kind of you hit on a few different parts right there, and I kind of want to know this. So you talk about the whole part of like you're seeing big names, being starstruck or not being starstruck. First couple shows being nervous, and you mentioned earlier like being an athlete, but not really having what it takes to be an athlete. But now you're on the big stage, whatever that looks like. No matter what, now you're on the big stage, and that's phenomenal. So for you, if it's coming across the athletes, if it's just being on TV, covering the sports, whatever it is, man, you're on the absolute biggest stage there is to be on in the world of sports. But what is it for you that is your most enjoyable time to do this in the football season? Is it on the set? Is it off the set with those athletes or your co-hosts, whoever that is? I mean, what is it for you personally that you take the most from every single day that you love?
It's honest to goodness. It is the best shows are my favorite shows are when we are live somewhere. So we've done shows from pre and post game Rose Bowl, pre and post game every bowl, national championship game, Final Four, pre and post game type shows that we've done either on ESPN or on the SEC network specifically. And when you're doing the live shows and you're around crowds and there's games, you know, that are about to start behind you, and you got marching bands in Pasadena where OU's about to play Georgia, right? And that's pretty badass. That's tough to beat, you know, but it's the people. On my way here, we just had a conference call kind of leading into hey, let's start talking about our SEC football final on Saturday nights. And, you know, it's Chris Doring and Benjamin Watson and our producers. And I mean, we spent an hour and 25 minutes of it's talking work and 35 minutes of it's giving each other, you know, SHI, you know what? I mean, it's just, that's what we do. That's who we are. We're friends on and off the set. We've got group texts galore. We're constantly in contact, even in the off season. So getting to work with really cool people that are just, I don't know. It's pretty special to get to call them friends and get to work with them and just hang out with them, honestly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
You
awesome.
can say it just so you know. We're good here on the show.
Yeah.
We are.
We are.
Yes.
Yeah, man. We're locker room talk, all that shit.
Love
it's
it.
all good. I promise.
Yeah, there's a lot of
to
shit.
Go, so.
I'll say that. There's a lot of shit.
I love it.
Hey, speaking of the shit, SEC football, college football is getting ready to kick off, and let's talk about it. Let's do what you do on a daily basis, and what are you most excited about? Obviously, with the SEC and everything like that this year. Any predictions? Anything that you have? What are you most excited about for another season? Obviously, Oklahoma, big hype around them this year. You know, making the college football playoff last year. But you know, let's talk about obviously the new rules and everything have come out now with the conferences saying, hey, once you've turned professional, you can't come back. You know, things like that. And I know that's been a hot topic for everybody. But you know, just give us your early thoughts of this season getting ready to kick off.
What I'm most excited about, Drew, is to not have to talk so much about what you just got into talking about.
Amen.
I'm so tired of that stuff. Yeah, it is never ending, right? But it does. But the thing is, it actually is kind of ending. I mean, when it comes to football, your roster looks like what it looks like, and that's the beauty of it. We don't worry about transfers. We don't worry about NIL, right? If they're wearing a red and black or red jersey with a G on it, they play for Georgia. We don't have to worry about where they came from, right? And that's the way it is. So I'm excited about really, frankly, so much. I mean, we've got new head coaches, in this league. Lane Kiffin at LSU. Yeah, sure, Oklahoma, right? Does John Mateer look the part, right, now that he's healthy? Does he make better decisions? What about all the acquisitions, right? The receivers, the tight ends. How's the offensive line going to protect? Can Oklahoma run the football? I mean, there's a million questions about OU, but then there's what's Texas look like? Are they going to kind of fall on their face again? Is Alabama really, like, I don't think that much of them. Maybe I'm dead wrong on that, right? I think Florida's going to be really good. I think we all kind of have some ideas on what we think might or might not happen, but watching to see whether that comes into reality and fruition, I think is kind of the most exciting part. But I love the fact that there's some new blood in this league, 6 coaches taking over at different places, Pete Golding kind of taken over. I mean, he's got 2 playoff. It's wild. He's got 2 playoff wins and no regular season wins. I mean, that's a heck of a resume. But yeah, there's
great,
Trinidad Chambliss. Like, I love that dude on and off the field, man. I'd love to see him go and grab himself a Heisman Trophy. So there's a lot. There's a lot there. And then obviously, like, the elephant in the room is, can the SEC win a national championship, or for the love of goodness, at least play for one, right? It's been a few years since that's even happened. So. But there's a lot of drama and a lot of great, awesome, incredible moments and things to get excited about before we start worrying about January.
Man, that's beautiful.
Sure.
Well, here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to keep you in January and December, because I'm going to put you on the spot right here. I hope you're okay with this.
Let's try it.
To that SEC, we're talking playoffs. You're talking about them getting back in the title game. If you're taking 3 teams from the SEC, who are your 3 teams that you are that you would predict to make the playoffs and have a chance at actually making a run this season?
Georgia, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. Yeah, Georgia,
Beautiful.
Oklahoma,
I
Ole
love
Miss.
it.
Those would be my 3. Yeah, I got to see Texas do it before I trust them too much. And that's not like an OU person saying that about Texas. I just got to see them. I just got to see if they can live up to the hype. But yeah, those 3 would be my 3.
What I love about that answer, Drew, he just went straight to it. He didn't give no fluff, none of the bullshit. He just listed his 3 and he knew it right there, man. That's beautiful.
Knew it. He had that ready.
Let me tell you, David, this is what we tell our analysts at ESPN all the time. Like, we say 1 is like cut through, but like 2, give your answer and then you can expound on it. Like, give your answer, right? Just get to it. And we'll get on them a lot of times if they don't do it. So
love it.
You're asked a question, answer it. Then you can go ahead and go through with your answer.
Great insight.
We learned something new. I think we got some homework, some stuff that we can work on as our podcast. Right, give the answer and then give your stuff.
And then get
like
that.
Yeah.
I need to do better at that for damn sure.
So you talked about Oklahoma, obviously, with the what they're going to look like. You feel like they're going to have success running the football, all that good stuff. But what about the other 2 teams? I know Gunnar Stockton coming back for Georgia. All right, so you're a believer in Kirby Smart getting back on that horse. It's hard not to ignore what they've been doing. But an interesting pick for you in Ole Miss. Losing their head coach, losing some players, but having Trinidad Chambliss, like you said, and then a new head coach. You're really sold on Ole Miss and them continuing to do what they did off of last year's team.
Yeah, I am. I think that, 1, if you're starting with Trinidad Chambliss and Q1 Lacey, that's a heck of a duo right there. So not only that, I mean, they lost Caden Lee, a wide receiver that went to Missouri with Austin Simmons. But I think 1, offensively, while it's not Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. running it, Pete Golding went out and found John David Baker, who's the offensive coordinator at East Carolina, and they run the same thing. So he's coming over, and he's really they're playing out of the same playbook to some degree. I think really good on the offensive line as well. So I think there's a lot of reason for optimism there. But what Pete Golding has put together on defense is something that, like, he's done a great job in the portal. I think he really held a class together well. People love playing for this dude. But I can go through and I can list every position for you, but honestly, it starts with Golding, Chambliss, and Lacey. And if Chambliss and Lacey can stay healthy, I think Ole Miss has every reason to be right back in that playoff.
I like that.
Well, here's what I want to know about Ole Miss. Are you going to be in hotty toddy land when Lane comes back to town?
No, I wish. God, I wish.
Man.
I wish. We're going to be in studio every regular season Saturday.
Oh, okay.
I will
That's
be.
right. That's right.
I will be I will be, since they're playing on a Sunday, I will be in Nashville on week 1 Sunday to watch them play Louisville. We'll be doing pre and post game on the SEC network. But on Saturdays, we are in studio. But I would love to be there. But I will say this: we were at the playoff game, me and Doring and Watson last year in Oxford when they played Tulane, and we did a 2-hour show from the Grove before the game. And this was shortly after Lane had left, right? I mean, this was the first game they were playing after Lane had left, and Golding was there and was the head coach. And there was no shortage of indications of what it's going to be like week 3. The signs were brilliant. People inviting us into their tent to eat and drink and whatever, and just talking about how much they hate the dude and he's a traitor and he didn't appreciate what we gave him here and all, everything you can imagine. So if that's any indication, it's going to be a treat week 3.
Man, that's similar to when Muleshoe decided to take the job at USC. And exactly, right? Yeah. No, that's outstanding. But here's another thing, and I know teams that we've talked about. We talked about the top of the litter for the SEC, but what about some of these coaches and some of these teams that are on the hot seat this year? I think you look at maybe Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State. You look at Josh Heupel at Tennessee. You look at some of these teams. Eli Drinkwitz, your guy that you've had on so much on the ref and everything like that. What about those teams right there? What do you think that they have to do to kind of get off of the mat, so to speak, and kind of get back to where they were just a few short years ago?
Yeah, well, I tell you, I honestly think in a season where we've just had 6 changes, I really think there's one coach on a hot seat, and you didn't name him. I think it's Shane Beamer, but I don't know that. They've dealt with so much in terms of injuries, now he made a bad hire a couple of years ago in Mike Shula as his offensive coordinator. He has corrected that hire. He's brought in Kendall Briles, which I think is a really smart move with that offense. But if you waste another year of Lenora Sellers as your starting quarterback, right, and fail to win 9-10 games and get to the playoff, I think it could be interesting there in the offseason. And I hope not, because I love Shane. I don't think Drink's on any sort of a hot seat. He just got a big fat extension in the offseason. I think he'll be fine. Heupel, let's see if Faison Brandon's as good as people think he is. Like, he's still a true freshman that's going to be starting at quarterback in the SEC. That's not an easy thing to do. But Josh always seems to find the guy, right, on offense at quarterback. Lebby's an interesting one. Last year they did go to a bowl game, but they went as a 5-win team. Do you give him credit for that? Kamario Taylor, I think, could be one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in this league. He's special. He's big. He's physical. He's got a huge arm. He can run. He's a little bit like Cam Newton to me, like in that terms of that build. He's maybe a poor man's Cam Newton, but I think he can be really special. But Lebby made a great hire in the offseason with Zach Arnett, who back when OU was in the Big 12 and Mike Leach was coaching Mississippi State, Arnett had a top 5 or top 10 nationally defense. And he's back, and he knows how to build it. He knows how to win in the SEC, and he knows how to win on that side of the ball in Starkville, Mississippi. So I don't necessarily think Lebby is on the hot seat yet. I think if this is a 2 or 3 win team, maybe we're talking something different. But I think if they go 6-6, I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I would agree. And Coach Arnett does a great job. His defensive scheme can be super complex with offenses and their game plans and how to attack them because of the challenges he creates, specifically in the box. And so that's, I think you hit it right on the head there. And Drew, we've talked about this guy before. Kevin Johns, his quarterback coach now down there, is I think he's as good as it gets in the business.
That's DG. That's ties to him, but that's David. Yeah, I was gonna say that's your guy right there, man.
I've been in the office with that guy plenty of times, and I promise you, he's about as smart as you can get and as good a human being as you can get. And he's gonna pull the most out of his guys and whatever he's doing. So I am really excited to see what they can put together in Starkville. Shout out to my wife. That's where she went to school too. So it'll be fun to keep up with him. And I think, yes, sir. And I think, I think Coach Lebby, everything I know about him which is nothing personally, but through the tales of other people in the business, man, they say he's phenomenal. So I'm excited to see what it's going to do.
Yeah, he's cool as hell. I think he's really good at what he does. And he said, like, when he was at Ole Miss running the offense there for Lane, he's like, I hated playing State when they had Arnett running that defense. Like, he goes, I had more trouble with that dude than about anybody I faced. So if I can have him on my side now, then we're good. That's right. I think it's a great hire. Yeah.
That's right. That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
Drew,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Drew.
Oh.
Go ahead, Drew.
I was going to ask, hey, you said your 3 teams that were going to be up at the top making the playoff, but who wins first, who's in the SEC championship game this year, and who wins it ultimately?
So I've got Georgia and OU. Again, I'm trying not to be a homer. I just love where they are, what they've been in the offseason, what they've done, the growth that they should make offensively for OU. I like Georgia better. I think Georgia's a team that is without question the most likely team in this league to break the SEC's national title drought. We'd like to see them. I think we'd like to see them find some more outside playmakers and maybe hit the home run ball a little bit more. I do think Gunnar Stockton can throw it. This dude showed us last year that he can throw a dime and he can throw it well deep. He's not just a big tank that likes to run the football that doesn't have touch. He has touch. So, but outside of that, I think defensively they are loaded. Great offensive line. They're going to be able to run the ball for 180, 190 yards a game. Some games well over that. So I think they're really well suited for that sort of a title run. So I think Georgia's the best team in the league, and if I had to pick, I'll take them over Oklahoma and Atlanta.
Hey, just the fact that Oklahoma's there I think that's huge, and I know Drew's trying to contain his smile right now. That's for sure.
Well, here's my thing is and I'm one of those guys, obviously I have a coaching background and stuff like that. And the coach talk in me is always like, hey, I believe it when I see it. Like, we need to go execute. We need to do this. But for me, there's been a lot more excitement, I feels like, this offseason than there has been in a long time at Oklahoma. And I'm trying not to get, the cart before the horse. But it's kind of hard not to for me. So I'm kind of in that limbo where I'm like, do I really get excited? Yes, as a fan, but do I really want to pump the brakes and say, all right, let's see it, because that's a tough start to the season when you're going to Ann Arbor, going to Athens, then Red River. So for me, it's, I'm excited to go watch us play UTEP next Friday, and I'm just going to kind of take it game by game. I know that's coach cliche talk, but I think that's where I'm at.
No, I think we have to be somewhat reserved in that sense. Like, it is a difficult schedule, but at the same time, I don't want to pretend for a second that folks in Michigan aren't thinking to themselves, damn, we got OU coming week 2. Like, that's tough, right? I mean, and in Georgia saying, heads up in week 4, like, I like Georgia in that ball game, but let's not forget, like, they're also well aware of who's coming. And the one thing that kind of bothers me, and I get into this show a little bit about my show about schedule talk, is one, it's not changing. If you're good enough to win a national title, you're good enough to manage that schedule. And if you're not good enough to manage that schedule, then we don't need to have the conversation anyway. And the other part of it is, in this league, we could sit here and we could get through Michigan, and let's say we lose to Georgia, and let's say we beat Texas. Don't think that we can't go to, David's wife's alma mater and drop one in Starkville. Like, I mean, we could. It's not saying we can't, right? We got to go to the Swamp late in the season.
Yep. Like, then you got A&M at the end of the year.
A&M, like Ole Miss beat us at home last year, right? They're going to be good again. Last time South Carolina was in town, they whipped our tail because we couldn't hang on to the football. Like, I mean, stuff happens in this league. And
the SEC.
Man, right? I mean, we can sit here and we can look at 3 games and say our season hinges on 3 games, right? We talk about those 3 games all the damn time, and they're in the first 5 games of the season. There's a lot of tough games after that. So, this is a week, 1 week at a time type of thing. And, we could, again, we'll sit here, we focus on those big ones, but they're all big. They're all big in this league. And no offense to David, no offense to the Big 12, right? But we don't have
none taken.
There's no powder puffs hanging around there. And for the record, I think OSU is going to be a lot better, man. So
I agree.
That's what I keep telling him. I said, Mestamaker and the guys that they have up there, I think they could win 8, 9, maybe it could be a complete overhaul of what has been up there.
And I'll be honest with you, like, you guys didn't ask me about this, but I kind of hope they are. Like, I think that would be great. Honestly, I was always a Gundy fan. I consider Mike a friend. I like him. I think they could be good, and I think that'd be great if they are. I'm all in favor of it.
Absolutely.
I agree totally, man. For me, it's exciting. I mean, it's college football is back. It's here, right? We're in full swing. We're talking about it. Dari, I know you got to run soon, but man, just hearing the excitement, talking about OU, OSU, regardless of who that is, college football is back. It is upon us this weekend, starting overseas, right, in that game 1. And man,
TCU in North Carolina.
We're back, man.
Yep.
So that part in general, hearing you talk about Oxford and Hotty Toddy Land, as I would refer to it down there, man, and like the hostility that comes along with college football in general, that's what makes it beautiful. Not all these preseason topics of all the BS and all the things we talk about.
Man,
but
we got it.
That's
we got
the
to
other
start
stuff
talking
that's
about the games. Start talking not the off the field games, but the on the field games. And finally, we're at that point. Yeah.
Amen to that for sure. So,
yeah,
man, I can't tell you again. We appreciate you being on here. We know you got to roll soon, but if you got any final thoughts for us, we would love to have them. Love to have you on here again at some point in the future, man. We know you're wrapped up coming up, but this has been awesome for us. So, Drew, any final thoughts by either of you guys, man? This has been awesome hearing your take.
No, I'm happy to do it, man. It was tough to line up the first one, but it's honestly my life's a lot easier once we get into the season because I'm in the office more, and that's where I have more downtime than I do at home. As crazy as that sounds, so no, we'll make this happen again. But no, you guys are really good, man. It's good to be a part of it, and I look forward to doing it again for sure.
Guys, we thank you so much. I know Dari's got to run, but our sponsors, you see them at the bottom: Magnolia Landscape and Design, Cooper Painting and Paint, Stripe, and Seal. I mess it up every time. Jeremy Hodge Auto Group, all that good stuff. But no, we appreciate you, Dari, so much for joining us. Again, find him on the SEC Network and on the Ref Sports Radio Network from 9 to noon Central. And we will see you guys again on the next episode. We got Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered, coming up next week to talk some SEC football, some more. And I know David's probably getting sick of hearing the SEC, but we gotta keep talking. So
that's real ball, man. I get it. We're running the football in the SEC.
All good, guys. But thanks again, Dari, for joining us, and we'll see you guys again next time.
You got it, guys.